Those amazing colophons, like so many of your peers who posted in appreciation of your work, I kept using the word amazing, as Christine does, and as Aaliyah does, because it's the absolutely necessary word. These are really amazing pieces of writing, and I love how Aaliyah really pointed out the descriptive language. Thank you, Aaliyah. How that descriptive language truly gave me a new perspective and helped me notice things that I otherwise would not have noticed. What a perfect piece of critique that gets right at why these were an accomplishment. To give one example of what Aaliyah is talking about, in Raphael's group, here doing this extraordinary manuscript, the Book of Kells, I noticed this passage and thought of Aaliyah's point about descriptive language, where it says that I'll go here, in this, the words are beautifully centered in a sea of embellishment and splendid ornamentation. How evocative that language is. Everywhere you, the reader, place your eyes, you will see interlacing so complex and spirals so mesmerizing that you will get lost in their meditative design. And this will bring you, they are saying, the calm and peace invoked in the Word of God. This is beautiful writing, and it's also such a crystallization of art history, in that in this very moment, they address us, you, the reader. I love that. We are so directly participating in what we're learning about with that address. And I want you to be thinking that artworks always want to address a viewer. Always. A viewer or viewers, plural. And they want to do so for a purpose. Just like here, we learn that the purpose of these complex spirals that are so mesmerizing is to actually experience the calm and peace of the Word of God. So that sense of direct address, Lila's group chose to address it to the head of the monastery, right? So you have a sense of the power structure, you have the sense of the person they want to impress, and that abbot of the monastery is in a sense the kind of mediating figure between the monks or the nuns and God. In terms of Aaliyah's point about language, look at how wonderfully descriptive everything is here. Transcribed on the cream-colored surface of vellum, consisting of 340 leaves and 680 pages total, this book contains the 4 biblical accounts of Christ's life. The Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The artistry and dexterity employed in the making of this book was to ensure that its precious contents would be preserved and remembered. Again, we have a sense of how much devotion was put into this and what that purpose is. There's always a purpose behind the making of art, and our job is to kind of pull that out. What was the purpose? And you did that also beautifully here. I absolutely adored how Kimberly's group were so imaginative in addressing theirs to the individuals who find this Book of Kells. And so they've already got a backstory. I don't know, you all are ready to write for Hollywood or something, because just in a few lines, we have a backstory. We know someone's going to find it, so then it gets lost. And then we have this kind of urgent address. Please take care of this manuscript, which has the people of Ireland's culture and history behind it from the island of Iona. We, the scribes, have run away from the Vikings who have attacked us and taken our home. This is very interesting to juxtapose the beauty of these creations with the violent uncertainty of their lives. And that, I think, is something that came out in the film, The Medieval Mind. This very difficult kind of contradiction between the gorgeous, sumptuous reality imagined in the religious art and the very brutal life that is actually led by the people. That sense of history as something lived out in a precarious and uncertain way. To remind ourselves when we look back at history that we know how the story goes, how it turns out, but they didn't. They were in the middle of it, the way we now are in the middle of watching the invasion of Ukraine and not knowing what will happen next. And I found it very powerful to see how this group connected that sense of history as survival and struggle in the face of difficulty with the beauty. The writing is to give you hope, peace, and encouragement. For we know the Norse have caused you great despair and pain by destroying your home in Iona. Now, this is really quite wonderful, because I would say that often art is about a sense of reparation or restitution, of restoring the world to what we want it to be, we desire it to be, so that we see in the history all this struggle and all of this conflict. And in the world of art, people create the world as they would like it to be.